I'm Stella Zekri, some people call me Stella Snacks, and I'm a DJ and a singer and a songwriter and a party girl. I'm born in the suburb of Paris, grew up in the suburb of Paris, and when I was 19, I was really fed up of living with my parents in France, in Paris, and I'm half German, so I was just like, where should I go? Maybe I'd try out Berlin. I had never been, and also, so I moved here 10 years ago when I was 19, and at that time I thought I would never be into like club music and electronic music. I would go a lot to jam sessions, to hip hop things, to bars, but I was kind of a snob about like techno or even house. How could I say that? But yeah, so I thought I would never, and then moved here and it just happened very organically like that. So at first I was starting to go in two bars. Both of them don't exist anymore actually. One was near Schlesische Store and one was in Neukölln on Allerstraße. And both those bars, they had like vinyl players and a lot of people would play like hip hop. And I met this person who would do a night there called Hip Hop für Erwachsene. And he would had this crazy like hip hop collection from records. And we became friends and he started to sell me some records. So that's how I kind of started like my collection. And then one day I was in this bar in Neukölln and the DJ just didn't show up. Not him, another one. But so the guy from the bar was like, oh no, how are we gonna do tonight? We don't have a DJ. I was like, well, I mean, I've never played them, but I have like 30 records. He's like, go get them. So I went to get them and then he showed me how it worked and I played for 4 hours. He didn't believe me. He was like, you did that before, stop lying. I was like, I swear I didn't do it, but it's so fun. So yeah, this is how I started playing the records, and then over years I started going out to like cocktail or some other club nights where they were playing disco, so I like the music. But then at the end of like the disco phase, I was kind of ready to check out the rest, you know, and that's how I got into it. And I realized I had house records already, because on a lot of like hip hop records or boogie records, they had the house remix on it, so. Yes, so I mean, I always wanted to be a singer. So when I moved to Berlin, that was more my plan. But I think for years, I didn't really find myself as like a singer. So I had a whole phase where I was like imitating a lot. I wanted to sound like that person or that person. So I would do like mimics, you know. And then I discovered passion for DJing. So I was so passionate into it that I kind of left it to the side for a little bit. And then I met Ed Longo. We met at Farbfernsehen, I think the first time. And then we just liked a lot of the same music. He put out his record, which I absolutely loved. So I was really like impressed by that. And he always said, oh, you should come to the studio sometime. And eventually, I think 2019, I went to visit him in the studio, or even beginning 2020, maybe. And we just like, he showed me a couple of things he had and we were really into it. So we were like, okay, let's make a record. And then we mix our influences like zouk, boogie, very 80s sounding stuff. We decided I was gonna sing in French, which was very scary at first. And actually now I don't think I could sing in English anymore. But long story short, we did the record and I never thought that it would be so successful. It was like, it's crazy. Like people everywhere I go, like people are like, oh my God, I love your song. I'm like, what? It's crazy. The record, like as you know, it is very 80s and the cover is also very 80s inspired and it sounds quite like authentic. Like it could sound like it's from there back then. And then my DJ thing is like, so, I mean, I also play old stuff, but it's like pretty disconnected from the record. And so it happened a couple of times and that time was the funniest one. I was playing at the school in Amsterdam and it was my first time playing there. It was crazy, really fun. So I'm DJing house, right? And eventually towards the end of the night set, this like guy who was really in a big party mode kind of runs up to me with his phone and put his phone in my face with like a picture of my record and he just goes, but wait, but you're the same person? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I thought you were dead. I was like, no, I'm alive. And he just really thought I was like some singer from the 70s or the 80s and this was like a rarity from back then. And yeah, that was so funny. So I host a weekly show on Refuge Worldwide. I do the breakfast show, and it's like my new favorite thing to do. It makes me so happy because it's every Wednesday, but they're quite flexible. As a touring DJ, we're several hosts, so sometimes I also switch days with others, but I really try to do it every week. And my concept for it is just, okay, 2 hours of playing stuff I would enjoy to wake up to, basically, and in the morning. So it always ends up being my favorite day of the week because I just show up there. There's like the companion coffee next door. So I just grab my half a cappuccino, my snack, and then I go to the studio next door and I just play really smooth, cozy, comfortable music, and it sets me up for the day so good. So yeah, I love it. So in the past year, I think my favorite place to play at has been Brussels. Obsessed with that city and its people and its scene. So there's a party series that exists since a long time there called Gay Haze. And I just played there the first time and literally got adopted by the whole crowd. I didn't know anyone. I like showed up in the backstage, and after like an hour, I literally had 10 new best friends that just like took care of me for the next 12 hours. And we became really good friends. So since then I went back to play with them, and every time I go back, and it's a really fun scene with great taste in music and very diverse, and I think people are really like present and kind. They like know how they're light enough that it's not too serious, the party, but they still take partying seriously. So it's also not boring. I really love it there. I told you earlier how I started with vinyl, and it's really, I don't play vinyl because I'm a purist or because I think it's better than the rest. Like, the music is what matters, and if you play great stuff from your phone, that's fine with me. But for me, it's just my medium. I'm someone, like, I can be pretty lazy, so find the motivation myself to like sit on my computer and find files that are the right quality, and I will end up on social media and Netflix after 5 minutes. It makes sense for me to like get out of the house and go digging in a shop, or even get out of my bed and like, you know, sit on the floor in my shelves and look for a record. And I really like the feeling, the weight of it. And now so many times, you know, I think, or people tell me, oh my God, why don't you should still bring like a USB in case, because there's so many problems all the time. And I'm like, I know, and yes, you're right, but I don't have any music digitally, so it feels like a mountain every time I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna start to collect music. I'm like, oh, I have nothing. I don't know where to start, and it just feels so much easier on the moment to be like, go in my own collection or on Discogs, because I have a system, or on hhv.com, DE. Basically. I also play old music. I play like really, I would say 95% of old music, and a part of me does, even I am not a purist, but yeah, if you play like, I don't know, disco or house only on CDJ, on vinyl, I think it doesn't come through the same way, because it's like the record I might play was probably played by some DJs in the early 90s, you know, and I found it in the secondhand box of that store, and I love that idea. Also just this like organic way of like how a collection builds. Some records people offer you as a gift, stuff you find really when you didn't expect at all. You go to a shop, you want to buy this kind of music, and then you start looking for it and it's not really working, so you look in another style and you end up leaving with something you didn't expect at all you would get. And I really love that feeling, yeah. And I think I like the limitations. It forces you to really commit to your taste and think like, okay, do I really love this? Whenever you're gonna buy it, or even when you pack it for a gig, it's like, okay, I'm gonna be limited. I cannot take everything with me. So I have to make like a decision which forced me to be a bit more committed to the music and think about like, okay, why do I love this? And I have the feeling sometimes with digital that people can miss out on this certain depth in the relationship with the music, because it's so easy to download like 200 tracks, and then you download so many tracks that are like kind of good, but you could have also just downloaded the 5 best of this, and then in your set probably it will be a bit more intentional and least like thing that sound all the same. I love it. First of all, something to never do, which I do a lot. I lose sleeve and mix the sleeves, so there's 2 records in that sleeve which don't belong there. One does belong there. It's a white label from Nucleus, which is an electro producer from like the 80s, also onto the 90s. And this track is called Push the Button. I really love it. It almost never leaves my bag because it's very cross genre. So I use it as a tool almost if I need to switch from one thing to another, like if I'm playing more, a bit slower, a bit more like boogie, disco and stuff, and I want to get it to something more ravey or more clubby, I can use it, or the other way around, because it kind of has elements from those different genres. And it starts, so it sounds very clear and sharp. It's like old school electro, and it starts with a breakbeat, so it's the first record that I would always bring in as a sharp cut. So also if I struggled on a couple of transitions in a way and I start feeling like anxious or feeling doubting what I'm doing, this one is a good one to give me a little confidence push because I know exactly how to play it to feel good about myself, you know? So it's like in the bag for safety as well. It's a great track. Okay, this one, that's a classic, but it might be one of my favorite songs in the world. So I just thought I would bring it. Chaka Khan, I Feel For You. Yeah, that's also my mom's copy actually. So it was, my mom bought it, I don't know when, but definitely a while ago. And then I took it from her collection. And yeah, it's I Feel For You, written by Prince, Stevie Wonder on the harmonica, Chaka Khan playing crazy stuff. One of the best songs in the world. This Tom Tom Club album, and I picked it this morning because first of all, I love it. I play it sometimes in the club, on the radio a lot. There's a lot of like different things on it. But I thought about it this morning because I did buy this at HHV store, and it was a funny phase because actually when I started playing vinyl for the first years, I couldn't buy things on internet. I didn't have like a credit card I only had a Etsy card or something. And so for so long I couldn't use Discogs. And then my friend told me, but you know this place in Friedrichshain, HHV, you can order online and pick it up. Back then you could still do that and pay in cash. And so it was actually the first platform that I was buying records on internet. Before that, never. When I discovered it, so my friend like also offered me for my birthday like a Gutschein and stuff. So this is one of the first like record I bought online, and I ordered it on HHV. I thought it was funny. Okay, this I got not so long ago. It's Ellis D, I Will Survive. It is a cover from I Will Survive, the anthem. And Ellis D, it's actually another alias for Junior Vasquez. I think it might be like his first alias or like an early one before. So it sounds very like early house, like late, I wonder from when it is, but 1990. So yeah, very early. And it's very good. It's like not too fast. I love it. And it has this big voice that just says the lyrics like, first I was afraid, I was petrified. Like this, and I love it. It's very sexy. I recommend it. And I like the deep house mix. We're working on an album with my band, so I'm so excited to like put that in the world. Written most of the songs, so right now we're just starting the production phase, and it's really exciting. It's gonna be like 8 songs, and that are produced much more as a band, so with a bit more of a live feeling to it, a lot of instruments. I like to think about it kind of as a bit more mature release than the first one, and a bit more intimate, but I cannot say too much about it. So you'll see. Hopefully in fall it will come out on vinyl, on Cosmic Romance. That's my big project, I would say, for next year. And then apart from that, I mean, we will play with the band Atlanta Cabinet on the main stage on Saturday. So I'm very excited and very scared, but it's gonna be great. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the big thing. So I don't want to outstage that with other small projects. I'm gonna be playing the closing at Globus on either the 21st or 22nd of February. It's the Friday, so on that weekend. And now I'm playing closing at Globus. I'm really excited. It might be one of my favorite booths to play. The sound is really good, the setup, so that's exciting. And I'm also gonna play Hypersoft in April, and this other like relatively new queer party called Royal Highness, which I've never been, but everybody is saying that it's really fun. So I really love to play, you know, my community's like night in Berlin, and it's important to me to like continue doing that even while doing bigger gigs. So it's usually always the most fun. Yeah, Globus, Royal Highness, Hypersoft. In 2025, I wish for more emotional music, new music, and I wish for people to love the music they release so that we can feel it when we listen to it. I hope for that.